afraid, we no see no one where we afraid of. We no afraid, we no see no one where we afraid of. Yeah, this is Everton Blender. And it's all about the young police from Jamaica, seeing Young Police Channel. Big up yourself, Everton Blender said that. We no afraid, we no see no one where we afraid of.
Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police Channel. To our loyal viewers, subscribers and Patreon member. At the channel, we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizen, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because they save lives. This is a logical conclusion because preemptive strikes save lives and prevent the further loss of lives. We are all about saving lives at this channel. We at the channel aid criminals with a passion and do not want them over here. We do not want your views, your subscriptions, your likes or your comments. Please go elsewhere where the red carpet is waiting for you. Over here, we want you to go to prison or the departure lounge at Madden. Yeah, so moving on to today's video. Remember that this channel is a channel that celebrates informers. We do believe that informers must live and every killers must go straight to the departure lounge. We don't even believe in prison because if you take a life of someone willfully, without justification, that's where you should belong. The same rights that you want, that's the same rights that your victim supposed to enjoy. So, moving on to today's video. Yes, if you are familiar with Jamaica's culture, you know what I'm saying, boy? Their favorite thing, informer for dead, rape a man for dead, all raper for dead. But guess what? You see, if the raper is somebody where them like or love, no, that the raper not for dead, because I like him, I'm a good man, a good youth. So you're looking at a man now, them call him Jacure. I cannot tell you what, maybe to him song them, that was back in the early 2000s. That was before I knew who it was, because when I found out that this man was a rapist, no, I don't dig him. But as I said before and I'll say again, Jamaicans are some of the most hypocritical people. You understand? You know, very, very hypocritical people. These are not people who have morals or anything like that. You know, moral decline. They have no problem with someone who rapes a woman, use a gun, hold her and take it. Yeah man, Jacure. So now Jacure is a gunman. I remember the first time I heard the name Jacure was a big head guy named Roundhead from Mansa Shack out by Saga to the East. You know, the artists them use the microphone on the stage not to promote positivity but to promote criminality. So that is what he was there talking about, free Babylon, free Jacure. And I was like, who's Jacure? But I never follow it up. You understand? So that is how these people, how they operate in Jamaica. Yeah, people, you know, they say they hate rapists, you know, and they burn rapists and rapists are dead. But yet, you know, Jacure is a man who commit the same act against a woman, against her will. Use a gun, hold her and take it. And Jamaican women, they're his biggest fan. I told you about another reggae artist who's a convicted court dealer, Buju Banton, in which he promotes a song, say, but because Jamaican people cannot think, they don't know that it's rape the man is promoting. And for me to call him out and say that this man, you know, as women, you're not supposed to support a man like this because he's promoting that men should use gun and hold you and rape you. And some women in the comment section, they class me and call me all kind of name, I'm a bad man and me a informer boy and me a this a boy and all kind of thing. All because I'm looking out for them. Because if a man is say, yeah, I'm serious, I forget it tonight, I forget your body by a gun point. That means he's pointing a gun at the woman's face and taking it from her. And they have no problem with such thing. So I tell you now about the moral decline of Jamaican. So he stood Jack Ure, he stood on European stage. His voice, a smooth brain. Soulful. Balm. Singing redemption songs. Meanwhile, a Dutch jury was lacking deliberation, weighing evidence, deciding just how many years to carve out of his life. That is what Jack Ure. It was the same week his monumental hit, Longing For, sailed past 100 million streams, a testament to his undeniable artistry. Yet, the very same moment, security cameras in Amsterdam capture Jack Ure. Yeah, man, capture him, Jack Ure, plunging a knife into a promoter's abdomen. It's a stark, almost unbelievable juxtaposition, isn't it? How does our nation, may I talk about Jamaica, keep dancing to a voice that seems perpetually entangled with violence, repeatedly convicted of serious crimes? And if we, the fans, the listeners, the culture, still press play, still stream his music, still sing along, what does that truly reveal about us? What does that say about our values, our priorities, our collective moral compass? In a Jamaica, I can tell you this, growing up, as a youth growing up in a Jamaica, if you want to be popular first, if you want to make it big time in a Jamaica media sphere, or even just with the people, the society and a whole, you have to be an anti-police, anti-law, and support criminality. You reach up to the pinnacle. People love you for that. Support violating other people's rights. That's why Jamaican for Justice is so prominent in Jamaica. Not because they are making Jamaicans people's life better, but because they are supporting criminals. Once you're against the police, you're big in Jamaica. Once you're for law and order, people have nothing to do with you. Let them say, oh, you're idiot, you're informer. Just to support law and order and looking out for the rights of your fellow citizens. So now, usually on this channel, we are about shining a spotlight on Caribbean success stories, celebrating the triumphs, the innovation, the sheer brilliance that emerges from our islands. But tonight we are flipping the lens. As you know, over here, I'm the biggest informer on YouTube. I call out any guy from the Prime Minister go all the way down. I don't sugarcoat or hold back anything for anyone. But sometimes we have to be diplomatic. So we are taking a hard look, not just at an individual, but what the story reflects back on us. We are asking one uncomfortable question. Is Jamaica? Are we stuck in a cycle of romanticizing raw talent, of excusing brutality in the name of artistry? Yes, we are. Butch Banton got prison for coke up to now, I'll apologize. Isaac Buchanan got prison twice for coke, him not apologize. Vibes Cartel got prison for kill Clive Lizard Williams, and the Chief Justice Brian Legacy call it the brown paper bag and Lego cartel off a Bassi murder case. Allegedly, I just saw it go. Corruption in our society, that Jamaica is corrupt. Our Prime Minister now try to fix it, and why he have an uphill task, because 403,000 voted for the criminals in Jamaica. So, Jack Ure biography, a sprawling, complicated narrative of rise and fall and rise again, give us the perfect, if painful, case. He's been hailed as a roots reggae messiah, a vocal powerhouse capable of steering the soul. Yet he is also a man with 2 significant prison terms under his belt. He is a Billboard chart topper, a global sensation who still somehow ended up in an Amsterdam courtroom wearing handcuffs, yes, but also those designer jeans, a visual paradox if ever there was one. So stick around, because after we unpack this extraordinary, troubling story, we are going to put your own moral compass to the test and we want to hear where you draw the line. Right there in the comment section below. So we can tell you this now. This is the first story about Jacure, because you know so bad man when I like artists. You so hear that say, boy, I want artists me like. We're alive and boy, me always a big up certain artists, and them artists there, them are criminal minded people to and all kind of thing. And although I've never in terms of criminal minded, I cannot support that, but I don't support criminality. So early promises. Anova Il Harmony and Aman Sikal Tori Alcock, the boy who would become Jacure, grew up on the rocky, sun-drenched hillsides of Anova, Jamaica. So he's a man that come from all the way down Anova. Peaceful place. This is a place where the rhythm of life is set by the natural world. Goats have the undisputed rights of way and winding path, and on Sunday mornings, the sweet soaring harmonies of Sunday school choir drift down the hills, carry on the gentle church breeze. From a young age, Sikatori's voice possessed a raw, undeniable quality, a natural instrument that stood out even in a land overflowing with musical talent. He wasn't just singing, he was feeling every note, pouring his soul into the melodies. It was 1996. A young Sikatori was harmonizing almost instinctively behind a tiny community stage. Little did he know, one of the reggae's most revered figures, the legendary Beres Aman, was within earshot. Beres, with his own smooth, emotive delivery, recognized that spark, that nascent genius. He pulled the young man aside, a moment that would forever alter Cure's trajectory, and spoke words that would become prophetic. Boy, your voice of pain and prayer in the same breath. It was a perfect encapsulation of the duality that would come to define Jacure's artistry. The ability to convey both profound suffering and transcendent hope, often within the same phrase. Under Aman's mentorship, Cure's talent blossomed. By 18, he was already cutting dub plates for $50 Jamaican a side, a common practice in the vibrant sound system culture, where DJs would play exclusive one-off recordings. His voice even then was flecked with that signature, trembling, a vulnerability that could make grown men close their eyes, lost in the emotion. It was a sound that was both sweet and haunting, pure and gritty. The island fell in love with him for the same reason it cherished sugarcane, sweet on the tongue, intoxicatingly so, yet capable of cutting you sharp if you grab it the wrong way. His early hits like King in This Jungle with Sizzler quickly established him as a rising star, known for a unique blend of roots, reggae, dancehall and R&B influences that resonated deeply with the Jamaican public. He wasn't just singing songs, he was weaving tapestry of sounds that spoke directly to the heart of the people, promising a bright future, a new voice for a new generation of reggae. First fall, he arrested Montego Bay, but that bright future was about to be violently interrupted. November 1998, the idyllic image of the soulful singer from Anova was shattered. In the bustling streets of Montego Bay, police stopped a rented Honda Civic car. What they found inside
and what's transpired next would forever scar Jacure's life and career. And unlike a .38 caliber handgun, a woman alleging rape, and 2 shaken robbery victims. The details were murky, contradictory, but the charges were damning. In 1999, the judge's gavel came down with a thunderous finality. 15 years. 15 years in the notorious, brutal Jamaican penal system. Cure's defense, which leaned heavily on claim of mistaken identity and a botched police lineup, simple never stuck. The public, while initially shocked, soon found themselves grappling with a narrative that would become disturbingly familiar. The gifted artist, the fallen hero, was it a miscarriage of justice?
Yes, before I start today's video, I'm just asking you, members of the Jamaica Young Police channel, to subscribe to this channel. United we win, that divided we lose. Because once we unite as a people, they can't beat us. It doesn't matter who they are. They can't oppress us or brainwash us with their lies to tell us that up is down and down is up. We know that in this world, most people worship money, but we worship God. Because money is only of this world. And people hate you when you speak the truth. So, moving on.
This, a young man caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, as his supporter vehemently argued, typical Jamaican. Anytime somebody commit crimes, it's never them. It's a system fighting against them. Because we were conditioned, socialized, and cultured in this way. Or was it the grim reality of a talent masking a darker side? Most of the artists them in Jamaica involved in a criminality in some way. We can't point any finger to Sean Paul. Say Sean Paul involved in a criminality. But the others them involved in a some way or the other. So Sean Paul are one of them, one of them clean artists. And Mr. Vegas, you can't say Mr. Vegas involved in a criminality where he might kill people, and because the man in that team travel with entourage. The artists that travel with entourage is normally the artists that make trouble with other people, so they have to have a whole heap of people, appear people for be around them. So inside the concrete walls of maximum security prisons like Tower Street, nicknamed General Penitentiary, Cure refused to be silenced. Against all odds, he continued to record how, through sheer ingenuity and perhaps a little illicit help, he managed to get his hands on some smuggled mini-disc player. There was a policeman, he passed away, that helped him. This wasn't some high-tech studio. It was a raw, underground, a testament to the unyielding artistic drive. And outside those walls, those rough prison record singles started to circulate. They weren't just songs, they were legends whispered through the dancehall anthems of defiance and resilience. They turned them into a prison to paradise myth, a symbol of hope for those trapped literally and figuratively by their circumstances. This was the birth of Jamaica's profound contradiction. The worse is headlines, the better is record sales. His music, born of confinement, seemed to resonate even more deeply with the populace that understood struggles. Albums like Free Jacure 2000, Get Alive 2003, Freedom Blues, and 2005 became anthems, not just of his personal plight, but of a broader societal yearning for liberation. His conviction, rather than ending his career, ironically propelled him into a new stratosphere of fame, fueled by a potent mix of sympathy, fascination, and undeniable power of his voice. Prison studio and public amnesia. During those 15 long years, Jamaica as a society perfected the heart of cognitive dissonance. It was a strange and also real period, where the nation seemed to collectively compartmentalize, to hold two conflicting beliefs simultaneously without acknowledging the contradiction. High school girls, diligently ironing their uniform for Monday morning, would sing along heartfelt and innocent to the soulful strain of Love Is. Meanwhile, taximen hustling on the busy streets, their vehicle often loaded with what's humanistically called hot stolen fuel, would blast "Free Jacure" from the stereos, a rallying cry for the incarcerated artist. Every new track that emerged from behind prison walls felt like proof for many that God still took collect calls from Spanish Town prison. It was a narrative of divine intervention, of higher power, recognizing the nurturing a unique talent even in the most unlikely of places. We as a society convince ourselves that heart purifies sin, that a soaring chorus, a perfectly delivered melody, could somehow cancel out a violent felony. The sheer beauty of his voice, the raw emotion he poured into every lyric, became a justification, a shield against the uncomfortable truth of his crimes. It was as if the aesthetic triumph negated the ethical failure. And the music industry, ever pragmatic, quietly agree. The Billboard reggae chart, that ultimate arbiter of commercial success, didn't seem to care about the source of the music, only its impact. His album, Freedom Blues, an album quite literally born of incarceration, hit number 2. Think about that for a moment. An album recorded under such extreme circumstances by a man convicted of serious crimes achieved mainstream success. It wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural phenomenon. It signaled a profound shift in public perception, a willingness to overlook or at least compartmentalize the artist's actions in favor of his art. It was a period where many out of sight truly meant out of morals, means to them out of their mind. The physical barriers of prison seem to create a psychological distance for the public, allowing them to engage with the music without fully engaging with the man and his past. Release and Redemption Tour. Then, in July 2007, after serving 8 of the 15 years sentence, the formidable prison gates roll open. Jacure enters Sikatori Alcock, a young man accused of heinous crimes, emerged as a symbol. He walked out in a pristine white suit, a deliberate choice, perhaps, to project an image of purity, of a man cleansed and reborn. To the waiting reporters, he declared, "My music is my testimony." It was a powerful, almost messianic statement, framing his heart not just as entertainment, but as a spiritual journey, a chronicle of his trials and tribulation. The Highland in a display of collective joy and forgiveness through what felt like a national welcome bash at the iconic Fort Clarence Beach. Thousands flocked to witness the return of their prodigal son, their reggae messiah. The atmosphere was electric, charged with emotion. It was a moment of national catharsis, a collective belief in second chances, in the power of transformation. His first post-prison album, True Reflection, A New Beginning, was more than just a musical release. It was an event. It moved and astonished 20,000 units locally in just 2 weeks. This wasn't just sales, it was an hungry embrace from a public eager to believe in his redemption. The world too seems ready to forgive and forget. Europe, a major market for reggae, booked him for the summer festivals. He stood on those grand stages singing about upliftment, about overcoming adversity, about love and unity. He was a reformed ex-con selling hope, in three-part harmony, a living testament to the possibility of change. For a moment, the fairy tale held. He was the narrative everyone wanted to believe. The man who had paid his dues, learned his lesson, and returned to bless the world with his gift. Yet quietly, almost imperceptibly, the shadow of his past persisted. Probational files trail him like an unwelcome companion, a constant reminder that while the public might forgive, the legal system had its own longer memory. The question lingered: was this a genuine, lasting transformation, or merely a temporary reprieve, performance of redemption for a hungry audience? Pattern re-emerged: assault, accusations, and social media frights. But fairy tales, especially those built on such shaky foundations, really last. By 2009, barely 2 years after his world release and triumphant returned, the whispers began anew. A woman filed assault charges against him. The details were unsettling, familiar, echoing a darker undertone of his past. The case, however, ultimately collapsed. Witnesses, for reasons never fully explained, went quiet. The legal process stalled, and once again, Jackie walked free. But the stain of the accusation lingered, deepening the cracks in his carefully constructed image and redemption. The pattern, once seen, became harder to ignore. In 2014, a seemingly mundane traffic dispute in St. Andrew escalated dramatically. Allegations surfaced that Cure had brandished a machete, a terrifying weapon, during the altercation. Again, no conviction, but the whisper this time grew teeth. They became louder, more insistent, fueled by a growing unease among those who had so readily embraced his comeback. Each new allegation, each fresh brush with the law, didn't just generate news, it birthed a new round of social media tribalism. On one side, is fervent defenders, often invoking Rastafarian rhetoric, blame Babylon, the oppressive system, for targeting their prophet, framing him as a victim of institutional prejudice. And on the other, his critics, increasingly vocal, label him a habitual predator, a man incapable of true change, whose charisma merely masks a dangerous streak. And in a twisted, almost cynical turn of events, his streaming numbers, his online engagement would spike every single time his mugshot surfaced. It was a chilling testament to the modern media landscape. Controversy, especially when attached to celebrity, its currency. Jamaica, it seemed, kept teaching the same unsettling lesson. Outrage sell, yes, but outrage pulls a killer baseline that sells platinum. It highlighted a disturbing aspect of contemporary culture, where the drama surrounding an artist could become as commercially viable, if not more so, than the art itself. The cycle was self-perpetuating controversy, drove clicks and stream, which in turn reinforced the artist's relevance even as it chipped away at any pretense of moral authority. Amsterdam night, the stabbing, the psychologically communicating in the cold, stark reality of October 2021 in Amsterdam. Jacure was scheduled to perform, but the show was cancelled. The reasons are still debated, but what followed was undisputed. Promoter Ricardo Blake have invested in the event, demanded repayment. What began as a financial dispute quickly spiraled into a violent confrontation. Hotel security footage dispassionately capturing the unfolding tragedy show Jacure entering the vestibule where Blake was. An argument heated and intense, quickly escalated, and then, in a terrifying flash, a knife, twice. The aftermath was gruesome. Doctor later removed 4 inches of blade from Blake's liver, a testament to the severity and life-threatening nature of the attack. Thus, prosecutors initially viewing the act as premeditated and malice, charged Accure with attempted murder. However, the meticulous court system, known for its thoroughness and adherence to legal definition, ultimately downgraded the charge to attempted manslaughter. The court ruled that while the act was undeniably violent and unintentional, it lacked specific elements of premeditation required for attempted murder under Dutch law. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison. But the story doesn't end there. The Dutch prosecutors, still convinced of the graver intent, are appealing the sentence, pushing for a more severe punishment of 9.5 years, arguing that the court interpretation of premeditation was too narrow. As of mid-2025, that appeal is still pending, and despite circulating rumors, Accure remains in pre-trial detention in Amsterdam, his freedom hanging in the balance. His fiancé, in a desperate attempt to defend him, claimed self-defense, painting a picture of Cure acting out of fear. Blake's lawyer, however, offered a far more chilling interpretation, calling it contract it cosplay, suggesting a calculated, almost theoretical display of violence. Reggae Twitter, as expected, morphed into an amateur courtroom, dissecting every detail, every rumor. But the Dutch judiciary, unlike echo chamber, isn't swayed by social media trends or dubplate requests. They operate on evidence, on law, and on every different understanding of justice than what might prevail in the court of public opinion. This incident captured on camera and dissected in a foreign legal system brought the full weight of Accure's violent tendency into sharp, undeniable focus. If this story, this stark contrast between melody and morality is making you rethink things, making you question where you stand, then please hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that people still care about substance, about deep dives, about uncomfortable truths, more than just catchy slogan sensationalism. And if you are hungry for more Jamaican stories that go beyond the surface, that explore the beauty and the brutal truths, then subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below, and tell us honestly, where do you draw the line between genius and grievous harm? It's a tough question, but it's one we need to ask. So why does Jamaica, a nation with such vibrant spirituality and strong community values, seem to keep forgiving Accure? Why this persistent hero worship? This seemingly endless capacity for absolution? It is not simple laziness, not a lack of critical thinking. It's far more complex, deeply rooted in the very fabric of Jamaican society and its history. For many, it's a matter of survival, a collective psychological coping mechanism. In a country where poverty can feel like a life sentence, where opportunity are often scarce and systemic challenges loom large, anyone who managed to escape that cycle, anyone who achieved global recognition and success, carry the collective dream. They become a symbol of what possible, a beacon of hope against formidable odds. When that escapee, that cultural ambassador, hands the dream back to the people in the most potent form imaginable, music, a profound sense of gratitude takes root. This isn't just about entertainment, it's about validation, about seeing a piece of oneself reflected on the world stage. Questioning him, criticizing him too harshly can feel like betraying ourselves. like undermining the very dream he embodies. It's a difficult truth to confront, but the stakes for many are incredibly high. Furthermore, you have to factor in the pervasive influence of Rasta rhetoric, the concept of the Babylon system, of downpression, of a Philistine conspiracy against those who speak truth to power, are deeply ingrained in a cultural psyche. In this framework, an artist like Jacure, even when convicted by secular court, can be seen as a victim of an unjust system, a martyr persecuted for his message. His struggles become evidence of Babylon's wickedness and forgiveness. In this context, transcends mere compassion. It becomes doctrine, a spiritual imperative. It is not just about forgiving a man, it's about affirming a worldview. This powerful cocktail of socio-economic aspiration and spiritual interpretation creates a powerful shield. And in this cultural dynamic, the victim, the actual individual harmed by the artist's actions, often become tragically minimized. They are relegated to footnotes, mere inconvenient details in grand narratives of the artist's struggle and triumph. Their pain eclipsed by the collective need for a hero. Their story drawn out by soaring choruses and album liner notes. It's a harsh reality that exposes a profound ethical blind spot within the culture. Oh, other scenes and the trouble starred. Now let's hold up Jamaica. Respond against an international backdrop. Compare it, for instance, with America's swift and brutal R. Kelly cancer culture machine. After years of allegation and eventually conviction, R. Kelly was systematically erased. His music was pulled from playlists, his legacy tarnished, his financial empire crumbled. R. considered South Africa convicted Waiter star Bricks, whose career was effective, ended after his rape conviction. He was quite simple, erased from playlists, his presence deemed unacceptable. The industry and a significant portion of the public drew a line. But here in Jamaica, the picture is strikingly different. Jamaican radio station still spin Call on Me during prime time, a testament to its enduring popularity and the public's continued embrace of Cure's music. It begs the question, is it because our justice system is inherently slower, less decisive, or perhaps more susceptible to external pressures? Or is it something deeper, something tied to the very economic and cultural fabric of the island? Is it because our economy, especially the crucial tourism sector, depends so heavily on the vibrant and critical celebration of our cultural exports, and the rum and roti parties where nostalgia for a particular sound, a particular artist often equals profits? The dilemma extends beyond local radio to international label licensing Cure's extensive catalog. They face a stark choice: pull the catalog, effectively erasing his work, and in doing so, cutting off passive income for countless producers, session players, and engineers who contributed to his success. Or they can keep streaming, keep profiting, and doing so appear to condone violence, to prioritize financial gain over ethical responsibility. The uncomfortable truth is that more often than not, most choose pragmatism over principle. The economic ecosystem built around successful artists is vast, and dismantling it carries significant financial repercussions for many innocent parties. This complex interplay of cultural loyalty, economic necessity, and a different approach to justice create a unique environment where the line between art and artist, crime and consequences remain perpetually blurred. Personal accountability versus systemic enabling. Let's be absolutely clear about one thing. No chord, progression, no catchy bass line, no soulful melody forces a man to stab another. Jacure's choices, his violent acts, land squarely on him. He's ultimately responsible for his actions. However, to stop there would be to ignore the complex ecosystem that in many ways greases the slide, making such behavior not only possible but at times seemingly inconsequential to a career. The local industry plays a significant role in this enabling. Stage show promoters, eager to draw crowds and create a vibe, often prioritize star power above all else, overlooking past transgressions for the promise of a packed venue. Producers, always on the hunt for the next big hit, are incentivized to work with talent that sells regardless of their personal history. Journalists in a competitive media landscape need clicks, need sensational headlines, and a few things generate more buzz than a controversial star. Everyone, it seems, has an incentive to minimize the sin and maximize the spin. The narrative become one of the persecuted artist, the misunderstood genius, rather than the accountable individual. When the only feedback loop an artist receives is applause, whenever misstep is met with defense from local fans and an opportunity for industry players to profit, bad behavior can graduate from aberration to brand asset. The controversy itself becomes part of the appeal. A testament to the artist's realness is defiance. The artists, in turn, internalize this myth. They began to believe, perhaps genuinely, that they are too essential to fail, too talented to be held in the same standard as everyone else. The constant adulation, the unwavering support, even in the face of criminal acts, create a distorted reality where consequences are seen as optional or at least negotiable for those seem gifted enough. This systemic enabling, while not absolving the individual, certainly contribute to a culture where accountability can be elusive. The victim's silence, lost in all this chatter, all the debate about art versus artists, about moral decline and cultural forgiveness, are the civilian names, the forgotten faces, the real people whose lives were irrevocably altered by Jacure's actions. There's a woman from the 1998 incident whose identity we may never fully know, who still signs her legal statements with a simple X, a stark reminder of her vulnerability and perhaps her enduring trauma. And then there, Nicardo Blake, waking up in a hospital bed, facing dialysis treatments. The very music of his attacker potentially soundtracking his agonizing recovery. Reggae, ironically, marketed itself globally as a healing music. His genre, born of struggle, yes, but also of love, unity, and spiritual upliftment. Yet, for survivors of violence perpetuated by its stars, this healing music becomes a cruel, constant reminder. Their trauma is inadvertently soundtracking beach weddings, blaring from car stereos, echoing through public spaces. Imagine the psychological toll of hearing the voice of your attacker celebrated and adored everywhere you go. Jamaica, for all its rich cultural tapestry, currently has no formal mechanism in place to protect victims from the constant replay of songs by convicted offenders. The mic, it seems, stays hot, perpetually broadcasting the voice of the perpetrator, while the court's injunctions, the avenues for true victim redress and peace, remains cold, largely ignored. This oversight represents a profound failure to protect the most vulnerable and a stark ethical gap. The nation. So, this oversight represents a profound failure to protect the most vulnerable and a stark ethical gap in the nation's cultural landscape. Hypothetically, Redemption 2.0, is there a road back? Let's indulge in this hypothetical for a moment. Picture 2013. Jack Now holder, perhaps gravel-voiced from years of life and confinement, is finally deported, stepping out of Kingston Airport, a free man once more. Could he at that point truly counsel youth against crime? Yes, he can. Could he become a genuine force of good, a living testament to transformation? Maybe. The possibility exists, certainly. But for that to happen, for a true meaningful redemption to occur, the island and the industry would have to demand far more than just a catchy chorus and a stadium full of lighters. Redemption, real, tangible redemption, requires consistent restitution, not merely a comeback single designed to top the charts. It means actively engaging with victims, offering genuine apologies, and providing concrete support. It means using one's platform not just to sing about change, but to actively facilitate it, to invest in programs that address the root causes of violence, to become an advocate for those he once harmed. Until the industry collectively ties royalties to victims' compensation funds, until there's a tangible financial commitment to making amends, any moral turnaround remains sadly just a marketing angle. It's a performance designed to sell records, not to live reality of genuine atonement. The path to true redemption is paved not with gold records, but with difficult ongoing work, a commitment to justice that's good and goes far beyond the microphone. Now, it's time for a moment of personal audit. Pause right now and genuinely audit your own playlist. How many tracks by artists with problematic past, by individuals whose actions contradict the very message of their music? Write your gym playlist. How many soundtrack your morning commute, your weekend chores, your late night drives? Each stream, every single listen is a microvote. It's a quiet, almost imperceptible signal to record labels, to promoters, to the entire industry that talent, raw, undeniable talent, ultimately trumps virtue. It says that the quality of an art often does outweigh the character of the artist. If Jamaica's moral decline, if this complex interplay of celebrity and criminality feels abstract, something's happening far away, then just check your last karaoke pick. Check the artist you celebrate, the song you sing along to without second thought. We are all, whether we ask for the job or not, on the ethics committee. Our consumption habits, our choices, our willingness to disengage all contribute to the cultural landscape. We are a part of the equation, and our decisions, however small they seem, collectively shape the narrative. What does your playlist say about you? Jacure's biography, with all its dazzling highs and devastating lows, is ultimately bigger than one man. It's a mirror held up to Jamaica, and indeed to human nature itself. His voice soaked in both velvet and venom, in profound beauty and disturbing darkness, forces us to confront the true price of our cultural bargains. It compels us to ask difficult questions. about what we value, what we forgive, and what we choose to ignore. If reggae, a genre born from the cries of justice and liberation, truly stands for love and unity, then that love and unity must extend beyond the dancehall. It must include the woman who stands in courtrooms seeking justice. It must encompass the promoters who end up in hospital beds, their lives forever altered. And crucially, it must consider the children, the next generation who learn through our collective actions that consequences are optional if your hook is catchy enough. Perhaps the next time that kick drum drops, the next time that soulful voice fills the air, we'll take a moment to ask who truly paid the real cost of that rhythm, who bore the brunt of the artist's choices. Until then, the needle keeps spinning, the music keep playing, and the moral compass for many keeps spinning right along with it, sometimes wildly, sometimes seemingly without direction. So sound off below. Should songs of convicted violent offenders be banned from radio rotation, from streaming platforms, or is it heart automatically separates from the artist's crime, a sacred space untouched by earthly transgressions? Share with a friend who still calls cure a prophet, who believe in his unadulterated genius, and let's keep this conversation as real, as raw, and as necessary as the wounds he left behind. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories where the Jamaicans' undeniable beauty meets its brutal, often uncomfortable truths. Have yourself a beautiful day. Jamaica, Young Police Channel out.